The Queen City has been so inviting to Speed Racing Network and its series of leagues, and we have quite the show on tap tonight, featuring 150 laps round the Charlotte Motor Speedway. I am Emerson Arden, and I have my colleague Will Tiller alongside myself in the virtual booth this evening. We're excited to be bringing you live coverage of the Speed Racing Network Z Grills series and its action here on VIRacing.com Motorsport Simulations platform. Will, we are here in virtual Concord, North Carolina, where a 1.5-mile quad oval sits. A unique one out of that. It gets a little tight there off of turn 4, 1 and 2. You can debate about going full throttle on fresh tires, and as opposed to what we had last night, we are in the daytime, so this track is going to be all hot and sticky. I'm ready for it. How about you?
I'm absolutely ecstatic for tonight's race. This is a track that I grew up just down the street here in Concord, North Carolina. For coming off what we've seen the last 2 weeks here in the trucks, I can only imagine how crazy this race is going to be here tonight.
Absolutely, and we can go ahead and set the stage here for what is upon us tonight. We'll take a look at our point standings coming into tonight's race, and they'll be up on your screen now. And how about it? Dustin Montgomery, he is absolutely running away with the show this evening with 329 points, and he has won how many times? I mean, we're losing count with Dustin Montgomery and his 4 wins on the season. Tyler Justice has a win, and it's Max Harris picking up the other win on the season. But 5 of the 6 wins coming out at Phase 2 Chassis Works. Bunch Schumacher, the first driver in points, without a win there in third. 251 points to his name. But we can look down to that cut line right around where Nathan De La Rosa, Scott Collar is sitting. It's a difference of 12 points between them. But, you know, this can vary week to week, and we haven't even factored in drop weeks. Now, Will, I know you were more or less newer to this series. What can you take away from the points coming into tonight's race? I'll tell you this much. Phase 2 Chassis Works has been the team to beat. Tank Racing has tried to stick it to him a little bit, and JBR has been solidly in the mix. But from then on, it has been very competitive in the midfield, and the front runners kind of run away.
Yeah, absolutely. This is my very first race here with these Xfinity cars, and as you just mentioned there, Dustin Montgomery leading that points table by a pretty good margin up there. But you know, this track here at Charlotte is a track that it gets incredibly difficult. It looks simple from the outside. You know, you have the high bankings 1 and 2, 3 and 4, but the exit of 4 is very, very difficult on that bump. What I'm watching out for here tonight, looking at this points table as well, who can take advantage of tonight's track? Who knows this track better than the rest of the field? Who can put their skill set forward? Who can survive the caution flags that I know we're going to see here tonight? And maybe, just maybe, start to creep up this points table just a little bit to put some heat on Dustin Montgomery at the top.
Yeah, Dustin Montgomery on an absolute roll to kick things off this season. 4 wins out of the 6 races ran. The one at Daytona was won by his teammate, Tyler Justice. And then the race at Indianapolis, while Montgomery was not battling that one out, Tyler Justice was leading on the final lap and ran out of fuel. And Max Service swooped in to take that one. And so that's how we got to this point with round number 7 in the books and getting ready to do battle tonight. We are now heading into qualifying for tonight's race. And you can see the times there on the left-hand side of your screen. Most of those drivers have already set their times. Sean Powell, currently top of the charts there out of the Phase 2 Chassis Works camp. And looks like everyone has gone out there and set their times except the 10 of Christian Swenson. So we're going to get one qualifying run to wrap up this qualifying session that we're going to get our eyes on here. And this will be a perfect opportunity to ride on board the Liqui Moly machine and see just what we're talking about. We talk about how this track can bite you.
Watching going to 1 and 2 on this qualifying run. And listen, one thing that I mentioned on Tuesday night's race is which lanes are they going to prefer here tonight? I like to call it either the Dale Jr. line, where you go very, very close to the top side wall into the corners, or do you run the Jimmy Johnson line, where you try to put those Goodyear Eagles as close as you can to that white line on the bottom? You see right now, he is rocking that Jimmy Johnson line as fast as he can. You see where it puts his name up on that board into 1 and 2. And we'll start to see also as this race plays out, the drivers start to slide up the racetrack just the slightest. And the biggest indication to me, Emerson, of tire wear is when you start to see those drivers about the midpoint range in those corners.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a fantastic analysis there. You're right. As soon as these drivers start to search for a little bit more grip higher up the track, you know that right front tire is not in a favorable position. As Christian Swenson in the 10 machine, he'll cross the stripe and he'll wrap up his qualifying run. Swenson will stay 23rd at a 31.65, and he'll be the last driver to take time tonight here in qualifying. And so racing action about to commence here at Charlotte. We're going to head down to our starting lineup and get things rolling with the starting lineup for tonight's race. Waiting for drivers to appear on the grid. There we go. We got some drivers appearing on the grid, and we can head on down to the grid then to show you how tonight's field will start. And so in row number 1, it'll be Sean Powell in the 1 machine, Tyler Justice in the 6 car. Row number 2, Adrian Schumacher and Dustin Montgomery, the 82 and the 12 respectively. 4-time winner starts 4th. Starting 5th will be the 77 of Seth Berger, the 11 of Bobby Anderson. Row number 4, Gabriel Ellison and Vincent Cortez making up 7th and 8th. Finish rounding out the top 10 in row number 5, Paul Bliss in the 85, Scott Kalal in the 32. Will, why don't you walk us through our next 10?
Yeah, picking up in the 11th spot, we have Edward Scherer Jr. 12th spot, David Robinson. 13th is Drew Besteros. 14th position is Jonathan Meyer. 15th position is Blake Hensley. 16th, we have Jesse Nicola. 17th position, we have Scotty Reichenfield. Excuse me if I get these names a little wrong here tonight. We'll keep rocking with it. Brennan Burkhardt's going to roll off 18th. Corey Stahl in that 33. We know he's fast in trucks. Will he be fast here tonight? We'll wait and see. And rounding out our top 20 is Kyle Ryan.
Rounding out the rest of the field, then 21st we'll have Nathan De La Rosa. Logan Truitt will start 22nd. Christian Swenson 23rd. Jim Harris 24th. Jonathan Cofield to round out our 25 driver grid for tonight's race. So that's a look at what these drivers will be bringing to the table this evening as they get ready to do battle tonight here at the 1.5 miles just outside of Charlotte, North Carolina in Concord. It is Sean Powell and Tyler Justice up on that front row, and they're rolling off and away on their formation lap. On our formation lap, we'll take this brief moment to shout out the channel. Of course, if you scroll down, you see that subscribe button. It's bright red. Why don't you go ahead and click it and make it gray? Subscribe to the channel here at Speed Racing Network to support all of our work here and trying to bring action. And Sean Powell down the apron. I thought he would drop into the rear there. But yeah, go ahead and subscribe. Help us hit that goal of 1,000 subscribers. We also have a membership program. Right next to that subscribe button is a join button. Once you subscribe, you can check out some of the perks that a Speed Racing membership premium member can get. For $5 a month, you can get access to loyalty badges, custom emojis, exclusive wallpapers and photos, early access to new content, member shoutouts, members only live chat, and priority reply to comments. Once again, $4.99 a month, you get access to the Speed Racing Network membership program. Getting ready to do battle tonight here in the Queen City. Phase 2 Chassis Works looking to get their 6th win on the season. Sean Powell, Tyler Justice, Adrian Schumacher, Dustin Montgomery, Seth Berger, and more. And so as the field rounds their way off of turn number 4, VIRacing.com Safety, we go find its safety in the pit lane, and racing will commence from the Queen City. One lap complete, and it is side by side for the race lead teammates. Tyler Justice up high, Sean Powell down low, double wide amongst the top 6.
Yeah, wasting no time coming off the corner. Number 2, the 6 of Justice there is going to take the high side off of 2. Still has Powell on his inside. Third position's now all by himself there. The 12 of Montgomery, our points leader, now inside the top 3. Still, we see a battle for the lead coming off of 4.
Tyler Justice around the outside. He'll improve 1 spot from his starting position, and he will be up in that top spot to the lead. Goes to 6 of Tyler Justice. He's got teammate Sean Powell, Dustin Montgomery in tow. In that battle for 4th, now we got Tank Racing teammates Adrian Schumacher. Oh, we got a crash up and over, big time accident. Oh my goodness.
Wow, big wreck coming off a corner. Number 2, that big red machine. Just saw some of that big outside wall. Heavy damage right there for a nuclear and that 84 machine. Oh my goodness. And I talked about it, the exit of the corners here, Emerson, very difficult.
And oh, we're gonna catch this one here. Nakula sideways already when we catch the replay. Overcorrects, makes contact with Kyle Ryan, and big time impact for both of them. Nakula gets stuck in that wall. The sim launches him upward, and Kyle Ryan goes for a wild ride on the ground, and Nakula goes skyward.
Oh my goodness, there you see the black box machine of the 39. He saw everything in that mix. He was right there front and center. That 84 machine just rumbling and tumbling down the backstretch. Same thing with Ryan right there as well. This is very early on, Emerson. You spoke off air about how there wasn't that many cautions in last night's race, but we have a caution here in lap number 5.
Yeah, I this one is crazy. We still have to go back and see how this incident started, but we're just amazed at the actual impacts here. I mean, Nakula, we saw him go skywards. Kyle Ryan clipped from underneath by Logan Truitt there in the 35, and Kyle Ryan goes barrel rolling as Nakula is bouncing like a toy behind. And I know it is a sim, but virtually it's supposed to simulate a 3,500-pound stock car. And that is a lot of weight to be moving around.
Yeah, and I think we're going to see a lot of that here tonight. Emerson, drivers thinking they're clear on the corners. I'm not saying that's what that was there, but it's very difficult here on the corners at Charlotte, as many different drivers are going to prefer different lines. And it's so tight, especially when you come off the corners, that if you get loose by yourself, there's really nowhere you can go. As you just saw there, the 84 machine was starting to get loose, and once you get sideways, Emerson, you're so tight here at Charlotte, it's really a domino effect after that.
You'll see here, Nakula G just gets loose. That was it. Oh my goodness.
Just very loose coming off the corner. And it's just so difficult. You know, it's that line choice is which one you want to rock coming off of there. And unfortunately for the 84 machine, that's probably going to end his night.
Oh, more than likely. We'll try to get one more look at this maybe from our static cameras around the track and see what angles they can provide. Nakula, he gets loose here out of turn number 2, and this one's going to be coming right at you, folks. Nakula skyward, Kyle Ryan barrel rolling, flying by. Wow. Wow. What a start to this one here tonight. I do want to give a quick shout out to Seth Berger and that paint scheme he is running tonight. He mentioned it to me before the broadcast. This is a different scheme than what he's typically running, but tonight he's running a special scheme. Shout out to his grandma, starting a small business making amulet pouches. And there's another touch to that. It looks like a throwback as well. He's got you know, the engine size there on the hood. It even says Phil Berger owner, because his grandmother, or his grandfather used to own a stock car, but is no longer with us. So a couple touches there to shout out some of to his grandparents there for Seth Berger in that 77 machine, bright blue machine. Gonna be interesting to see how he can perform tonight.
Yeah, he's got a pretty good run going so far. He's inside the top 10, 77, has a little extra motivation to push him along here tonight as we're about to get that green flag.
And so VIRacing.com comes. Safety vehicle will find it. Safety in the pit lane. The field van in the hands of Tyler Justice. And racing once again from the Queen City. A calm start there then for the field of 23 still running in tonight's race. It's Tyler Justice out in front of Sean Powell. Adrian Schumacher is cleared by Dustin Montgomery for third, and it's now Berger under attack from Bobby Anderson.
Okay, so Schumacher inside the top three in that 82 machine. There's already a little bit of damage to that outside there, trying to see who that is. It might be the 77. No, it's the guy next to him there. It might be the 11. A little bit of
Bobby
tail
Anderson
end damage. Yeah, I see a little bit of damage there on the 11's tail as he's still on that high side lane. He's still holding pace.
A lot of blue cars up here. My goodness, look at that. 5 cars in that shot right there. They're watching Bobby Anderson, and look at it there, the rear end of that 11 machine. That is what Will is talking about. Looks like somebody has already made some content, maybe made some love to the rear end of the 11 machine. As everyone will get singled out, there's 5 blue cars in a row right there. Montgomery slots in behind, and Powell lost a spot to Schumacher. Schumacher surging, looking for the lead early on these Phase 2 chassis work cars.
Justice has to keep an eye on his rear view as we're going to make it double digits now. Lap 10 into 1. Schumacher in that 82. As mentioned, he's got a big run coming right now as the 6 of Justice is already in that middle lane, which is a good choice to start off this race. You alleviate the pressure you're putting on those tires early on in the race, which allows you to really press forward the rest of the go. But it also opens up that opportunity for Schumacher to come along in that 82. But it looks like we have a battle for 4th raging on between those 2 blue cars you were talking about as we come off of 4.
You're looking at it, there's Berger and Montgomery going to do battle. Berger trying to work his way forward, already inside the top 5. What a run it would be for him to nudge his way past the point leader there, and Dustin Montgomery took a shot backwards for a moment as Vincent Cortez last time entering into turn 3 had a big moment down the back straightaway. Ed Shearer Jr. in that 14 machine also trying to surge forward. There he is in that Tony Stewart inspired livery, trying to work his way past Bobby Anderson.
And you see those battles, it keeps popping up each time we come off of 4. They wisely get single file into the corner, but look at that battle again. Number 12's under fire. Montgomery, our points leader, has a target on his back. As you mentioned, he's been having one heck of a season so far. All these guys want to probably do is beat the 12 here, and you see the 12's now back up to 3rd. He's going to watch out right there. Powell is right there raging for that position. Not going to be enough, though, as he's still holding it on, but we're starting to see a gap build up between our leader and the rest of the field.
Yeah, you're right. Looks like Schumacher is 3/10 clear of Montgomery, and then Justice is another 3/10 clear of Schumacher. Back here, Montgomery is up up 1 spot from where he started. Our pole sitter Sean Powell has lost 3 spots, and now Seth Berger is trying to go around the outside of one of the Liquid Molly cars, trying to find a way past the 1 machine. And car slams the wall back there. That is Scott Kalal in the 32 machine. He has made the right side of his Z-Grills Series car flat like a pancake.
Yeah, he's still in the mix, though, in that 32. Just sort of drifting right here. Kalal is in that 14th spot. EC drivers trying to take advantage of that opportunity now, but the 77 of Berger is now got a bit of a run on the 12 of Montgomery here on the corner. They're very, very fast behind our race leader. Now Justice has to turn around and look, because Schumacher's there in that 82 into 1 and 2. We rage on here. As you see, Montgomery's going to go very, very low. Justice is going to stay mid on the corner. Coming off of 2, Justice will take us down the backstretch as our race leader.
14 laps complete, working halfway through lap number 15. Adrian Schumacher, well, he has scored in the 82 machine. That was part of the throwback he ran last week, throwing back to the car that he won the Season 2 championship with Adrian Schumacher. He's been trying to run to 0 all season. That is a number he signed up with and was allowed to run, and was the number he picked. But iRacing will not give up that number because they assigned that to the pace car. So Adrian Schumacher, he'll just run to 0 in spirit, I guess, and be scored as the 82.
Absolutely. It doesn't really matter what number is on the side of your car, as long as the one to the left of your name on the board reads 1. And you see Schumacher, he's still trying to follow that pattern. He's going very, very low on the corners. You see right there, he just dive bombs right there on the apex, tries to get down to that white line. Meanwhile, Justice is still staying mid on the corners, which is a very good strategy in my opinion. It allows you to still get back down the track to throw that block on the 82, and you see this battle right now between the 23 and the 14. They're battling out for positions coming off of 4. You see the 12 machine right there as well. Montgomery's starting to slide just a little bit down the grid.
Yeah, Montgomery falling backwards. Same thing with Sean Powell. Tank Racing is coming out in full force right now. Seth Berger has worked his way past both Montgomery and Powell up to 3rd. Schumacher's already sat 2nd. Cortez now into the top 5, and Ed Shear just outside the top 5 and 6th. 4 Tank Racing machines up inside the top 6.
Now we were single file coming off of 4, but Schumacher has now found his pace. He is on that back bumper. He is glued right there like some Gorilla Glue. Super glued to the back of the 6 machine coming off of corner number 2. He might have a run here coming off of 2. Yeah, he's still right there, and there he goes. Emerson into 3 and 4.
To the inside goes the 0 of Adrian Schumacher trying to wrap that bottom. He gets the left sides on top of that painted blue line. He'll fight with the car up off the corner. No mas. Tyler Justice holds station out in front.
Yeah, he's still holding it down there at the top into the apex of 1 and 2. Schumacher is there, and that 0 machine. Berger and that 77 is watching all of this play out. Meanwhile, we talked about that Emerson. When we talked about Berger, he was in 6th position, now up 3 spots. When we mentioned that paint scheme, you see he's very fast. He might throw his hat in the mix for the battle for the lead here as we come down the front stretch.
And this is something else. I'm sure Max Service, he's the one thing driver that didn't make it tonight, and he's the only driver not out of that Phase 2 Chassis Works camp to win a race this season. But this is his favorite track, and the other tank guys, they have a hard time trying to keep up with him when they come to Charlotte. But tonight they have decided to come out in full force, maybe because, well, Max isn't here. But no, these guys, they have decided to rally the troops with 4 of them inside the top 6 and continue to push those Liqui Moly cars who have been so dominant this season. Tyler Justice with the win at Daytona, but he's had dominant race-winning pace so many races this season. You think of Indianapolis, where he lost it on the last lap, and in Darlington, where Dustin Montgomery won that one on field mileage. Just a couple races to know what Tyler Justice. Also, Las Vegas, Justice had some pace as well. The 6 of Tyler Justice does not have the win count to match the amount of races he's been a dominant car in. And at least early had some short run pace, but it looks like maybe the long run pace falling into the favor of the tank cars.
Yeah, and I think that strategy of going mid on the corners might backfire on him just a little bit. Now goes Schumacher to the inside here down the backstretch, but again, Justice is able to hold on to that spot. Now into 3 and 4. What I'm looking for here, Emerson, is the 6 going to start to slide down the racetrack at all to try to throw off that momentum of Schumacher. But when you stay topside on the racetrack, looks like he's the only guy in this front pack that is still rocking on that topside lane. Now he has no choice as they're side by side into 1 and 2.
Side by side for the race lead. Justice trying to throttle up and hold the momentum up high. Schumacher taking the shorter way around on the inside and to still be side by side down the back. Schumacher's gonna have to send it into 3, and Justice does. He'll clear back by the 0 machine.
Just the slightest checkup from Schumacher there allowed Justice to maintain that lead. Now it's going to be a 3-car battle for the race lead into 1 and 2. We're only 25 laps into this race, Emerson, and these guys are battling it out like it's the last lap of this race. But here comes Berger in that 77. We talked about the extra motivation he has here tonight. What a win this would be very early on in this race. He is making himself known as it looks to be his turn to try to put some pressure on Justice.
Up to the second position in that number 77 machine, simply Visma Burgart's number 77 Chevrolet Camaro, trying to make some inroads here on the 6th machine. Tyler Justice in the Liqui Moly Phase 2 chassis works camp. The top 2 now, still doing it out up front. But the thing is, Berger, he had the chance to sit and watch Schumacher try to make his way around the 6th machine of Tyler Justice. What did he learn from that? And will he be able to put that to the test? Sean Powell reeling these guys back in with the pace. Montgomery, by the way, has dropped down to running order some more. So Powell trying to work his way forward, but Berger wants to clean air before Powell can get there. Powell back into 3rd.
You see Berger just keeps looking to the inside, just wants to get that nose to the fender, let Justice know I'm right here. He almost did it coming off with 2. Wisely follows right back behind the bumper of the 6 into 3 and 4. Here comes Powell in that 1. Schumacher as well. Cortez currently in 5th, but this is the same battle we've seen most of the night so far. Emerson, Justice is just able to hold off any pressure that's coming his way. But it looks like Berger might get a little help if Powell can slide down to the low side of the racetrack. He could push this 77 to the front, which would leave Justice all by himself on the top side.
Now, that would be the one thing is Sean Powell is Tyler Justice's teammate. So I wonder how much Powell will try to play a factor into this battle for the race lead. But Powell now trying to get to the outside of the 77. He's gotten to the quarter panel. And here comes Sean Powell around the outside of Seth Berger, trying to make dual Phase 2 chassis works cars out in front of the field. Slides entering turn 1. Powell now will have to redirect the angle of that car up off of turn number 2. And side by side down the back. Berger fights, but Powell might just have too much tire life in that one machine to work his way by.
Exactly, and I think they did the opposite there. Powell was able to use Berger as a slingshot, get on that back bumper, sling himself to the top side of the racetrack. Now he finds himself right back behind the bumper of his teammate, and now he shuts the door on Berger in that 77, but he'll go low side on the racetrack. I'm wondering to see if he'll put any pressure on his teammate here as we come off of corner number 2. I think right now, Emerson, he's just trying to play the best defense he can for his teammate into 3 and 4. Now they look to be in lockstep. Oh my goodness, that was very tight coming off of the corner, but he doesn't want to put too much pressure on his teammate here as we cross the start-finish line. We might have a new race leader into 1.
Powell's gonna send it down to the inside. Justice is gonna fight this one hard. 10 laps to go in stage number 1. Who wants to get this stage win more? Powell seems like he's got the pace and the tire life, but does Justice have the will and the way to hold him off in that high side?
Yeah, I don't think Powell likes the low side of the racetrack. They're very hesitant on the apex. You start to see him just to get the slightest bit loose when he gets there, but the speed coming off of 4 might be enough as we're drag racing down the front stretch here. Not at the Z-Max drag strip, just outside of the racetrack here, but on the front stretch. Now the drag race continues into 1 and 2. These teammates are side by side like Ricky, Bobby, and Cal Naughton. They'll go side by side down the backstretch.
Side by side through turns 3 and 4. Powell trying to find a way around that inside, but Justice is finding out just how easy it is to defend on that high side. By the way, Gabriel Ellison has passed Ed Shearer for that 6th position, and here comes Berger trying to shove it up the middle. Powell getting that run on the inside. Justice now just has to maintain what he's got on the high side. This time by will be 7 laps in stage 1.
Again, Powell, you see Powell get loose into 3, and I think right now there has to be communication across the radio between Justice and Powell. That way, Powell can stay right there on the low side. You have Justice on the top side. They're absolutely blocking any lane for this 77 to try to make a run at the lead. And you see how uncomfortable Powell looks on that low side of the racetrack. Definitely not his preferred line there, Emerson. As we're down the backstretch here, the 77 now looks to the top side. He has nowhere to go on the racetrack. He tries to go low. He has Powell right there. He tries to go high. He has Justice in the 6. He is just stuck behind 2 teammates right now that seem to just have everything working together.
Working together, but still working against one another. We still watch Powell and Justice duel it out in front of the field. Powell having to lift a little bit more in the center of the corner as we work later and later into the stint. The right front tires start to feel the added wear a little bit more. Ellison now into the top 5 around Vincent Cortez.
See Schumacher back in the mix as well in that 82, or the 0 as he has on the side of that car. And you see the side-by-side battle, but it doesn't look like either one of them wants to inch in front of each other. And you see Powell with a big checkup on the apex of the corner there, and I think it's because he wants to slide up. He wants to rock the same line as Justice is in that 6, but he doesn't have space. His teammates there on the top side of the racetrack. So curious to see how this race plays out. If these two get separated at all, we might be looking at the 2 fastest cars of the race, but we can't see it right now because I think Powell's just being a great teammate. He's being the Scottie Pippen to Michael Jordan right now.
It seems like a weird kind of working together, working against one another, but it works. But now Powell to the high side really wants to get as much as he can up there. He goes all the way to the wall. Berger dives down to the inside, and Powell trying to maybe make a monster run here on the 6 machine. He set up a great run, not able to do much with it into 3.
Now check out this lap time here as he comes across the start finish lines here, going high into 1 and 2, changes that lap time. Ran a 32.9 last time by. It is now a 32.9, so same lap times there, just a little bit faster. But again, they're side by side, just jockeying for position. These teammates here know it's a long race at Charlotte. As long as they can block out the competition, they'll just have to race each other there at the end as we cruise into 3 and 4.
A long race, but 2 laps to go this time by in stage 1, which will bring out the caution period and reset the field. Justice loses a little momentum there. Now Powell with the advantage through the quad oval. 3 miles to settle it. Justice fighting back hard on the outside, but how much harder can he fight?
Side by side into 1 and 2. You see Berger there in the 77. He wants a shot at the action. Right now, Powell's going to, oh my goodness gracious, just threw that tail right in front of Justice. Justice said, okay, I'll go to the low side now, a line that he has not rocked all night long here as he's to the inside. He's going to drift up the racetrack, try to get comfortable at the midpoint of the corner. And you see right now, Powell take us across the start finish line into 1 and 2, our clear race leader as he's starting to separate.
1 lap to go in stage number 1. Berger now to the inside of Tyler. Justice. Powell looks to try to rock away with this one, but the battle for a 2nd place in the stage is on. Schumacher not knowing where he wants to go behind. Off of turn number 4, they're going to be side by side for a second. Berger trying to get the advantage to the line, but it's going to be all the one of Sean Powell who will win stage 1 here in Charlotte. Berger gets 2nd, Justice 3rd, and Schumacher 4th as the caution comes out.
What a stage, Emerson. That was a great battle we saw there between teammates. It was also a great blocking by Justice in that 6 before his teammate got there. Justice was doing a great job of holding it down, even though he was going mid on those corners there. Still with Powell, you saw him checking up with his teammate. You almost thought that speed was there, and now we can clearly see it as he takes that stage 1 victory.
Great job from Sean Powell and the rest of the Phase 2 chassis work squad as they claim the stage victory here in Charlotte. And now the safety car will pick up Sean Powell as the race leader, and The field now will work on their pit strategies here. I'd imagine it's going to be 4 fresh ones and a full tank of race fuel for these drivers, but it is more or less now how many laps can we go on that set of fuel. Last night in the trucks it was 35, so we have now eclipsed that point. But the other thing that we're doing here is instead of running 1 and 2 wide open like you would in the trucks, you are having to lift massively in the corners with these Z-Grills series cars. The more horsepower, the more speed to carry into the corner, and the shape of these vehicles also just needs more to slow them, more to rotate them. So as the field works their way down the pit lane, where we at the edge of that fuel window, we'll see here how long it takes for these guys to pack these bad boys full of fuel as everyone heads down to the attention of their pit crews.
Yeah, I'm curious to see here, Emerson, what this pit stop is going to do to some of the speed. You saw some of the drivers driving in 31s, 32s there at the end of that run. Now you're going to throw some Goodyear Eagles on there, fresh Goodyear Eagles. You're rocking and rolling here for about 30 or so laps or so, as you mentioned. That'll put us around lap 70, 80 right towards the end of this race. Will we start to see any more fast lap times out of here? Will we start to see other guys start to rise to the top of this grid? Was there anybody that was maybe just experimenting at this track, even though it's a track that I would think every driver is very familiar with? And, even there, we saw Powell on the low side of the racetrack. When he started to drift up like his teammate, the Sixth of Justice, you started to see a lot more speed come out of the one machine than we saw when he was rocking that low side of the racetrack. So maybe some of these drivers learn there in that first stage. We're going to start to see some more drivers start to rise up here in this late run.
Well, let's go ahead and ask him. Driver of the number 1, Sean Powell, our stage 1 winner. And Sean, that one was quite the run. Sean, you started on pole, you fell back, I'd imagine in an effort to save tire. And then you had to duel it out with a bunch of the tank racing guys. And then your teammate, of all people, Tyler Justice, there for the stage victory. What was that stint like?
It was more so just pacing myself up front. It's just so hard to overpace yourself here. You kill the front, you slide the fronts on the entry, and you slide the rears off the exit if you're not too careful. So just pace myself. Something similar to Darlington from last week. You don't want it's one of them tracks where you can make up a lot of time up on the front end of the side of the run, first 10 laps, but it's not. I don't know. I don't think it's worth it because you only maybe can pull a second on someone that saved the tire. So.
Well, it seemed to go for it.
Oh, and the run, me and racing Tyler, that was a bunch of fun. I didn't think we'd get around him. I did not. I just had to work him over, and just set him up as best as possible.
Yeah, we saw your very long setup process. Took over a lap to set that overtake up before it finally worked out. You went high in 1 and 2, rim road the outside wall, tried to go high and turn under him out of 4, and then you finally had the pace to set it in to turn 1 and clear back by him. You had to sit there. First of all, watch Schumacher and Berger try to figure out, and they couldn't. And then you had to see it firsthand before you were able to figure out a way. What was the experimentation like, and how much more are you going to be trying to put yourself into those situations to learn about what you can do later in the race?
It's more so just trying to learn for later, right? So at least that's how I treat the stages. The outside, I don't know. I know rim right 1 and 2 there, but I don't know. And it does definitely kill some speed. It'd be interesting to see how green flag racing, if we get green flag all the way to the end, and then say it becomes a little bit different because you don't got to pace with the traffic. So we'll see how it goes.
All right, well, that is stage 1 winner, driver of the number 1, Sean Powell, out of phase 2 chassis. Congratulations on the stage win, Sean, and best of luck to you the rest of the way.
Thank you.
We had the chance to talk to our stage 1 winner here from Charlotte. And so now it's time to reset and do this again with 105 laps to go. It's Sean Powell, Seth Berger, Tyler Justice, Gabriel Ellison, Adrian Schumacher, Vincent Cortez, Paul Bliss, Ed Shear, Logan Truitt, and Brandon Burkhardt as the iRacing.com safety vehicle will find its safety in the pit lane. The field in the hands of the one of Sean Powell, and racing once again from Charlotte. One lap complete from the restart. It's Powell, Justice, Seth Berger, Adrian Schumacher, Gabriel Ellison, then the top 5. And the battling occurs further back. This is Vincent Cortez in that bright blue pit stop TV machine trying to find a way by Gabriel Ellison. Schumacher trying to give a little slipstream to Cortez. Teammate Ed Shear trying to look to the outside of Vinny. And here comes the 85 of Paul Bliss.
Yeah, Paul Bliss on the top side there, coming off of 4. You're already starting to see drivers get a little antsy underneath those brand new Goodyear Eagles. You see the 14. Oh, sure has got that nose right on up the Cortez as he gets loose, gets a little love tap there off of the corner. I think sure just let Cortez know, hey, I'm right here.
Oh
if
my
you try
goodness!
to block me, I'm right there.
Nathan De La Rosa pounds the wall down, trying to find one of those Mario Kart shortcuts outside the racetrack. That one is not there. Nathan De La Rosa in trouble early here at Charlotte. But back to the point with Cortez and Shear. That's teammates going at it there that made contact there in the one. So Ed trying to get Vinny a little boost to let him know I get going or I'm going to take the spot.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think Charlotte plays as a track as a mirage. You think the draft can be your friend. You can use the draft, especially here in these Xfinity cars. You see Cortez now is going to go to the inside of Ellison here. He's going to get that position. But really, everything's going to take place in these corners, Emerson. That's where most of the passing is going to take place. Yeah, you can use the draft maybe down the backstretch, but here on the tri-oval at Charlotte, the draft's not really going to come into play that much. It's always going to be into that corner. Is whether or not you can get lower on the track or you can use that high side momentum to make that pass. Is it looks like Sure is going to try that on Cortez right there, and he will.
3 wide and a return number 3. Bliss, Cortez, and Burkhardt. Bliss washes up into the 23. Cortez wisely backs out of it, but he'll lose 3 spots in 1 lap to Shearer, Bliss, and Burkhardt. Ed Shearer up to 6th, up 5 spots from where he started, and he now surges on to 36 of Gabriel Ellison, looking for a spot inside the top 5. The battle for 2nd. Seth Berger around the outside of Tyler Justice, and Berger completes the pass once again in that Simply Visma Burghardt Chevrolet Camaro.
Yeah, and you see now Powell's on the low side of the racetrack. We saw him on the high side of the racetrack there in the first stage. Looks very fast up there. Same thing with Berger in that 77. Now he's got around Justice. Here comes Montgomery to the outside of Justice, trying to make a little BOGO action here. Gonna send Justice down to 4th. Our early race leader now is trying to fight for positions inside the top 5. But heading into 3 and 4, it's still gonna be Powell on that one.
Adrian Schumacher cleaves into 3rd, and yeah, now Sean Powell has the job to try to fend off the Tank Racing bunch. Here comes Ed Shearer to the outside of Tyler Justice, make that 3 Tank Racing cars. Nose to tail now, 2nd through 4th if Shearer can get by Tyler Justice.
And this is what I mentioned there in stage number 1, but here goes Berger to the top side of the racetrack. The 77 with a huge run coming off of 2. If he can get that tail in front of the nose of Powell, he'll get the position. But right now they're just battling it out into 3 and 4. A bit of a checkup from Powell there on the low side of the racetrack. Will that give Berger that Hot Wheels boost off of 4? And it does. Berger is our new race leader across the start-finish line.
And Seth Berger doing it for his grandparents. Their grandmothers start a business with those amulet pouches and shouting out his grandfather Phil Berger on the hood of the car as well. A great car. He'll get to lead some laps here in the Queen City. And Berger doing his Burger Nation proud.
Yeah, he looks very strong here. I think he might lead a few laps out here in this clean air. And that's what I mentioned there in stage number 1, Emerson, is if Powell and Justice get separated, what kind of speed will we see out of the two of them? And from what I'm seeing right now, Justice has slid down to 6. Powell is in 2nd right there, just lost the lead. You see Sure on that 14, he's trying to take that position away from Powell. So maybe what we saw there early on in this race between those two teammates side-by-side battle, it's just it was a hard indication of who was fastest there. For right now, for me, it's going to be Powell on that 1, but he's got some big dogs behind him there with Sure on that 14, and Schumacher has not gone away yet here, 56 laps in.
Yeah, Adrian Schumacher, the Season 2 champion, surges behind, trying to find a way by. We can drop our way back a little bit. Look at some of the battling back here. How about the president of operations here at Speed Race Never, Jonathan Byer, getting dirty with it right here with David Robertson, getting really into this battle here. Now has to find a way past Dustin Montgomery. Montgomery way down the running order.
Yeah, I was just about to mention that there. The 12 is just, I don't know what happened there in stage 1. He was top 10, top 5. Now he finds himself inside maybe the top 15 range. You see Jonathan Byers going to take that spot from him here into 1 and 2. Has to check up just a little bit there on the entry. It's going to make it a side-by-side battle there on the apex. And for Montgomery, our points leader, this is one of those things.
No!
Oh, as Byer touches that top side wall, that is never good, Emerson.
No, and especially in these B cars here on iRace. Oh, he's going to get contacted from Drew Ballesteros 2 weeks in a row. Ballesteros makes contact with the president of operations here at SRN, Jonathan Byer.
It just gets roughed up just a little bit there. Just let him know, hey, Prez, I'm right behind you, as now that's going to lock jam that gap between Jonathan Byer and the rest of the field. Even though they roughed him up a little bit there, it's actually going to cost those drivers a lot. Cofield, Ballesteros, Harris, Stahl, and Kalal back there. As you see, there's now a gap forming between 14th and 15th, all due to that incident.
Yeah, there's that big gap there between Scotty Reinshield and Jonathan Byer. Reinshield trying to stay attached to the back of this group. And I just want to touch on the point one more time as Byer now under attack from both Jonathan Cofield and Drew Ballesteros. Once again, by the way, Schumacher, I guess around the outside, got by Ed Shear. But to the point of these B cars, everyone, obviously you never want to hit the wall in any race. It's not great for you. But in this B car here on the iRacing.com Motorsport Simulations platform, this B car in iRacing, it is very, very much a intact body dependent car. If you do any damage to the right side of that car, it is almost game over for you in these B cars. You are gonna feel a severe lack of speed, a severe lack of turn, and somebody else pounds one. Kalal in trouble, and now Swenson in a 66 of De La Rosa. Oh my goodness, Swenson, big time impact on the inside wall.
No caution flag yet. Should wave momentarily, as that was a hard impact on that low side wall there down the backstretch. No caution yet on the racetrack. Man, what a hard impact that was there down the backside. And even though, folks, this is a simulation, you're going to feel that on your wheel. Whether you have any kind of extra motions or anything, you're definitely going to feel the impact.
Well, I know we are still green. I do want to take one look at this one because this impact was massive. As Kalal gets the wall contact there with De La Rosa and Swenson slams the inside wall and is absolutely stuck in the wall. We'll get one more look at it and we'll get back to racing action. Big time impacts there. We're right on board with Christian Swenson here. Oh my goodness. Nowhere to go.
And I'm going to see this impact.
Just
man.
The edge of that wall just gets stuck, or just eats the car. It just gets it stuck, and I guess Charlotte is starting to get known for its sticky walls here, and that was definitely a sticky situation there. Swenson, unfortunately, that is going to be game over for the 10 machine.
Yeah, as I mentioned to kick off the broadcast here tonight, Charlotte is a track that will lull you into thinking you got it. You feel confident. You got that mojo rocking. Hey, I've raced this track 100 times, 1,000 times. I know what to do. then all of a sudden, Emerson, you start to feel that car drift up towards that top side wall. You're thinking, okay, I'm good. And then you come off the next lap and you make contact with the top side wall. You're like, okay, I'm all right. And then you start to see that the car start to slide just a little bit when that tire wear starts to come in. So it's a track that, starts to lull you into a fake confidence, but it's a track you really have to keep your focus if you want to win.
Absolutely. And another thing I think that doesn't get mentioned enough is Charlotte is, for many iRacing oval racers, the first track you see, that in USA Speedway. Charlotte is a free track on the service. It's what you start off with in street stocks and legend cards, and you're running multiple different layouts of this venue all the time on the iRacing.com Motorsport Simulation platform because it is a free track. And I'd imagine a lot of these drivers had their first experiences with this iRacing sim here, and may have some sort of attachment to it. You think back to the street stock days and legend car days, and maybe you ran the Miatas on the Roval. Many rookie series start out here because it's a free track.
Yeah, as you were saying that, I'm seeing a big swing out of the 12 of Montgomery back there. Very, very loose as we were watching, but we'll jump back up here to the top side of the grid. As you see Justice, he's under fire from sure in that 14. This is to stay right on the top 5. Justice now has to really play a lot of defense. He was our race leader at the top with his teammate of Pal. But right now, he's trying to stay inside the top 5 as sure looks very fast in that Brass Pro Shop machine.
And a driver out of Tank Racing, Ed Shearer, making his return to Speed Racing Network competition a couple weeks ago. Did not start the season, and then had an early exit in the previous season. But Ed Shearer back in action here with Speed Racing Network in this 5th season, and will take his talents here to the Z Grills Series. Ed Shearer, one of the higher I-rated drivers in the field. He has over a 5,000 I rating, and Ed Shearer now trying to see if he can contend with some of those higher end, the 6Ks, the 7Ks out in the field. Actually, I don't believe we have another 7K in the field because Montgomery is 6 I rating below 7,000. I mean, he's essentially a 7K for all intents and purposes. But Shearer decided to come back and see how he'd stack up with this level of competition, and so far he's not doing too shabby.
Yeah, doing pretty great so far. Finds himself just inside the top 5, but he's got to watch out. Ellison's right there. He wants a spot inside the top 5. 36 now, Emerson. And I'm starting to watch a few of these guys. They're just lingering inside the top 10, top 5, not really pressing the issue too much. Don't want to use all of your cards. Don't want to put all your cards out on the table here early on in this race. For some of these guys, I feel like they're holding back just a little bit. Once we start to see that 50 to go, 60 to go, after that last pit stop, some of these guys are really going to put that pedal to the floor.
Absolutely. And if you were watching, there are a lot of cars, including Shearer, who is the car right ahead in focus ahead of Ellison, getting sideways off of that corner. And that means one of two things, right? These drivers, they preserve that right front tire, and now they're pushing a little bit more, and the rear end's starting to kick out. Or this is just a very slippery racetrack with how hot it is, which could be adding a whole other layer to today's race.
Oh, my goodness gracious. Wow, that was close.
Good stuff from all of them, but from Cortez to keep that baby facing the correct direction out of turn number 2, and things are tightening up front. Seth Berger under attack from Sean Powell. To the inside looks the one machine. And now Berger will have the opportunity to pick his lane into the corner and defend against the one machine.
Yeah, Powell creeps to the inside just like Medea. Say, hey, how you doing? As he's right on the inside of Berger in that 77. He's waving to him now as they're side by side into 3 and 4. Powell has found his speed here late in this run. And I say that, folks, because green flag pit stops are right around the corner, but Powell is looking good. And that liquid Molly machine, our new race leader, into 1 and 2.
And Berger, he tried to pin down Sean Powell, but he bobbled as he went over the seam in turns 3 and 4, and that bobble upset the entire balance of the car. Cortez very sideways in that number 23 machine.
Wow, they are on ice skates right now. Cortez is trying to keep that thing straight. on the track. We're gonna ride on board with him now to see what he's fighting inside of that cockpit. And you see that wheel movement for just a second. We saw it there, Emerson. He's fighting just a very, very looseness there. You see coming into the corner here. See how much wheel movement he has.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my goodness, a lot.
Oh, my goodness. That looks like you're running at Little Charlotte Motor Speedway on the outside the racetrack. There's that little, you know, 4 10-mile dirt track. Up the road right there, we see Ellison and Ed Shear going at it for that 5th position. Ellison gonna wind his way by Shear, and everyone looks like they're struggling for that grip a little bit.
I think for these drivers, Emerson, they're trying to push it probably, I'm thinking, to around
Uh-oh,
lap 8.
uh-oh.
My goodness. Wow, what a point of view here as we're riding along board with Cortez. There was contact there between Ellison and Schur. Now Cortez will take advantage of that. He'll gain a position. Now he wants to try to make a move on Ellison in that 36. As we were talking, though, I think these drivers are trying to push it to lap 80. That way they can get that last window out of the way, 30-lap window at the end. This is going to be quite the race here heading down to green flag pit stops.
Absolutely, and it already is. We've seen everyone kind of sliding around the track. Paul Bliss sliding up here on the 31 of Hensley. This for the battle for the 9th position. And now up here, Cortez to the inside of Ellison. Although he is sideways out of every corner, Cortez still moving forward.
Cortez is to the side. Ellison right there, as it just keeps getting more and more sketchy as the laps go on. Cortez, we saw him in that cockpit. All he needs right now is an e-brake, and he'd be drifting around this track right now. But he's right on that back bumper of Ellison. I think he's doing a great job here, Emerson. He knows this car is starting to slip away from him. He knows he's losing grip. He's doing an excellent job of holding on to these spots, staying inside the top 10, still battling up for a top 5 in the stage. And if he can keep it going and get down pit road in the same position, then he's done everything right.
Absolutely. You know, if you have to work a little harder or a little, you know, a little more for that spot, but you still end up in the same spot, all that matters is the result at the end of the day. If you're a little worn out, you know, maybe you'll feel it a little bit, but you hold on to that spot. I guess that's all that matters.
Yeah, talking about spots, we only have 4 drivers left on the racetrack that are running 32s across the board. Last time by, Sean Powell was our fastest car. Seth Berger. Tyler Justice actually just moved up to that 2nd spot as we're going to jump to that side-by-side battle here. These 4 cars are the only ones still in the 32s. Indicates to me that they are fighting that tire very, very bad here in this run. We did see 31s there briefly there, but Justice will take that spot away. And here we go. Ricky, Bobby, Cal Naughton back up at the top of the grid. It's time for some shake and bake action, as now, once again, it's Powell, Justice, 1-2.
It's time for some pit stops. As Gabriel Ellison in the 36 machine pits from the 5th position at lap 79. Also, Corey Stahl, Jonathan Byer are in. They pitted the lap before. Everyone else looking to stay out.
Yeah, these leaders, when they headed down, was lap 42. I'm thinking in the next 2 or 3 laps, you'll start to see these leaders head down. But one thing that stands out to me, Emerson, we haven't seen them really fight any looseness there at the top of the grid. They're rocking the same lines. Yes, the lap times have gotten a little bit slower, but I still think maybe they can push that window just a little bit, make sure everybody else pits, and then they head down pit road.
Absolutely. We'll work our way forward. Lap 80 of 150. Pitting now would make it an easy 1-stopper to the end. And these drivers still fighting it out hard. Tight here between Shear and Truitt for 6 as they near their pit cycle. Ryan Shield is on pit exit now. And yeah, I'm a little surprised they didn't bring more people down the pit lane. I wonder how the strategy will work out for Gabriel Ellison. He's going to be on a rocket ship right now, coming by the other drivers on old tires.
Flip side of that, though, the longer these leaders stay out, the longer they can push that window. It allows, Ellison's going to be fast. We know that. He's on fresh Goodyear Eagles. But once those leaders start to catch up, you're going to see that plateau start to drift a little bit for Ellison to those leaders who have been fast all night long. It's the big gamble there, as we're starting to see some more looseness starting to play a factor coming off of 2 right there. That's Montgomery in that 12, who's been sliding here the last 10 laps or so.
I mean, that's the other gamble, Will, is you see everybody getting loose. What if we don't make it through a full green flag pit cycle, and then you're screwed? You have to, try to get the wave around, or I guess he'd be the lucky dog in that scenario, but he would get the pit. But if you pitted there and you don't make it, you don't see out green flag pit cycles to its conclusion, you might be in trouble.
Yeah, I don't think those leaders got the message. Those 2 teammates, they look like they're not even thinking about green flag pit stops right there. We saw them briefly on the racetrack. We'll jump back here to Ellison. Ooh, man, what a move that was.
Oh, and contact there between Hensley and Paul Bliss as they battle it out. Robertson and Ballesteros behind as Ed Shearer pits. Uh-oh, and it looks like he might have spun out on that pit entry.
Yeah, he's been very fast.
Sideways, sideways, sideways. Oh, man.
Gonna have a little bit of damage on that 14. He's been quietly inside the top 10, even cracked inside the top 5 here tonight. We'll see if he can rebound from that. But here comes the leaders down pit road.
Powell and Montgomery are in. 2 of those Phase 2 chassis works machines. Now, we've seen Tire Life at a premium here, though. If you're able to go as long as you can, you might be a rocket ship coming back to the field later in the run.
Interesting to me right here, Emerson. Justice stays out, Powell heads down. I think that's a communication between the 2 teammates there. One's going to stay out a little bit longer than the other. And you see Berger, he was burning those brakes heading down pit road.
He was lighting everything up, trying to get down the pit road speed. For his sake, I hope he made it. As we still have Tyler Justice, Schumacher, Truitt, Robertson, Cofield, and Burkhart yet to pit, and Anderson. Is Gabriel Ellison. He's going to fly by and be the theoretical leader once pit cycles are concluded. Berger, Cortez, Ballesteros, Hensley, and Harris still out there. And Robertson's coming in the 46 machine. And Brandon Burkhart leaving 5.
Yeah, and although he still has to pit, I think my hat goes off to Logan Truitt there in that 35. We saw him involved in that very first caution of the night.
Oh,
where he had
man.
Cars flipping in front of him. He kind of dusted his shoulder off a little bit there. In the words of Jay-Z, he stuck out on the racetrack there, currently inside the top 5. And I've seen his name inside the top 10 as well here tonight. Not be one of those guys we've called out a lot, but definitely one that's really just kind of dusted it off and kept it going here tonight.
Jonathan Cofield in the 58. And then there was 4. Gabriel Ellison there, our theoretical leader. He's got about 5 seconds, 5.5 seconds on Seth Berger. That is a monster gap. There is Jonathan Cofield as we await some of the other leaders to come pit. Justice and Schumacher, they stay out. Truitt stays out. Bobby Anderson in the 11 machine, he will stay out as well. Our theoretical race leader, there he is, Gabriel Ellison. 5th overall now. Put in a lap. I'm sorry, yeah, unlapping himself to Tyler Justice.
Very interesting to me that Justice hasn't headed down pit road yet. Of course, you see Adrian Schumacher right there. Those 2 have been inside the top 5, top 3 all race long. But I'm just curious to why they haven't headed down yet. As you see the 35 machine of Truitt's going to head down. Those 2 really just trying to push this window as long as they can. Maybe hoping for that caution you were just talking about, Emerson.
We're thinking about it here. We're at 45 laps from the restart here. There's 60 laps to go. If they can, I mean, it's a long shot. Here comes Tyler Justice now. I was going to say, if they can go 7 more laps, they might be able to make it. Tyler Justice is wiggled his way down to pit lane speed, and Schumacher locks up the rears. They come down pit lane speed. Bobby Anderson, the last car to pit, and he's coming down. Bobby Anderson is. He will not be able to get a lap led. There's Tyler Justice, Adrian Schumacher, and Bobby Anderson.
That's going to put quite the gap there, Emerson. I know these guys really wanted to push that window stay as long as they could, but you're looking at almost between some of these guys 10 laps, 8 lap difference between some of these guys, 7 laps I'm seeing on the grid as well. You know, you just said Tyler Justice had it on lap 90. Other guys had it down on lap 83, 84. You have 78, lap 78. So to me, quite the Yahtzee shuffle of positions here we're going to see towards the end.
Tyler Justice coming on to the racetrack way back. He's going to be about 11 and a half, maybe 12 seconds back of race leader Gabriel Ellison. And he's going to have, I'd say about, well, if he pitted at 8, I say about 30 laps before the next round of green flag pit stops.
It's going to be now a battle of nutrition towards the end. I say that because you're going to feel that equipment start to fail on you. Who can keep their equipment together the longest? You're going to have people with fresher equipment coming up on you. Can you block those lanes right now? Of course, you see those intervals on your screen. Very gapped out. 13 seconds, 10 seconds, 7 seconds, 6 seconds. I feel like Emerson, once everything starts to come together here and everything starts to flow in the right direction, we have quite the battle on our hands. As you see, Justice is just trying to work through this field as fast as he can. He's going to take Scherer with him there in that 14. They're trying their best to catch up to these guys. He has a lot of work to do.
Yeah, Scherer and Paul Bliss. Actually, Paul Bliss pitted 1 lap behind, or 1 lap later than Scherer. Scherer is making the overtake on him, so that one's intriguing as well. Out in front, it is Gabriel Ellison with a 3.5 second lead over Seth Berger, 6 seconds over Montgomery, 7 over Cortez, and 9 over Tyler Justice. And as he said that, Tyler Justice gained 2 seconds in as many laps.
Now, I'm trying to keep an eye out on Ellison's lap times. They're at the top side of the grid. Seth Berger is right there, just about 3 seconds off the pace, but every lap that goes by now it's a flat 3 seconds. It was 3.5 just a little while ago, but that 77 is starting to put in some work. You're looking at almost a 7-8 lap difference between Seth Berger and Gabriel Ellison as far as that equipment goes. So now it's under 2 seconds now. He's starting to creep up to Ellison, and he's doing it in a hurry.
And look at the times there, Will. That is half a second quicker Berger was to Ellison. Montgomery vote 0.2 quicker than Berger. Cortez 100th quicker than Montgomery, and Tyler Justice absolutely flying around here. He is over. Yeah, Tyler Justice is a second quicker than Ellison. Oh my goodness.
My question is, if it stays green, if it stays the way it is right here, Berger's going to catch Ellison. You see that now. It's going to drop down to almost a 2 second lead. They'll have about a 2 second lead on Montgomery. Justice is about 6 seconds off the pace. Will there be enough time for the names of Justice to get up there? Maybe Scherer to get up there and have a run at it. Schumacher in the 82 is 10 seconds off. Do you think, Emerson, these guys are going to have enough time if it stays green?
I'm not sure, because we still have to see how these strategies mesh out on this run, and we still have a whole other round of green flag pit stops. And there, if you wait too long, you might not have enough laps to catch back up. It's going to be the other question.
Yeah, and you see that speed of Berger. Now he's got it down to 1 second. Gabriel Ellison has to know that 77 is coming, and he's coming in a hurry. As we watch the 36 take us into 3 and 4, he will see that 77, like the blue streak he's been here tonight, coming down the backstretch. Now we might have a battle for the lead heading into 1 and 2.
0.6 of a second between the top two. Berger out of turn number 4. Now half a second across the stripe, and is chasing down that 36. Tyler Justice 3.5 seconds. The Justice is on rails right now. Even if Berger gets by Ellison, it'll only be a matter of time before Justice inserts his name into the mix. Oh my goodness, Tyler Justice is absolutely flying. Still a second quicker than the leaders. Here you go for the race lead, Vo. Around the outside. 77 of Seth Berger will make easy work of Ellison.
And he just did it the right way there. Emerson went topside on the racetrack, got low, didn't put too much pressure on Ellison. And I think Berger knows that he needs to maybe monitor that equipment here a little bit before this last round of green flag pit stops, because as you mentioned, mama, here comes that man again. Tyler Justice in that 6. He's been up at the lead. He went at it with his teammate Powell for a little bit. Powell took the lead. Justice paid for that. He slid down the grid just a little bit to about the 6th or 7th position. Got reshuffled through those green flag pit stops, but as you mentioned, you see the flames coming out of the back bumper of that 6. He is on fire right now, coming off of 2. Ellison has to watch out because he is coming right now off that 2nd spot.
Tyler Justice, he is half a second quicker than the top 2. Absolutely steaming around here, and actually he's over a second quicker than Ellison, but watching Truett power his way past Ryan Shield. We're gonna see a bunch of these odds and ends battles kind of shape out here because of the pit cycle. Now we got that battle for second here, Justice on Ellison, and Ellison's not gonna be able to put up a fight.
Oof. I felt that up here in the booth, Emerson. I felt that wave of momentum that just went by. The 6 machine just went scorching by Ellison there in that 36. And now he's got the 77 of Berger in his sights, like Luke Skywalker had Darth Vader in his sights. He is coming for that villain in this race, coming off of 2. It was Berger, it was Justice, it was Powell that battled it out there in stage number 1. It looks like these 2, just like Batman and Joker, will go at it once again here in Charlotte as Justice is coming for that 77 off of 4 with 48 laps to go.
48 laps to go from the Queen City. Tyler Justice now only a half second back of Seth Berger. The advantage he has on the field is starting to simmer down, but it's still a large advantage at that. Down the back straight away. 0.4 of a second is the gap, the deficit that Justice has to make up on the 77 of Berger, and he'll take another 10th out of him in 3 and 4. And he's halved the deficit in 1 lap.
We talked about the extra motivation Berger has in that 77 here, racing in memory of his grandfather, racing for his grandmother here tonight through a different paint scheme on that 77 machine. You can tell he is racing with extra motivation, but mama, here comes that man to the inside. Justice in that 6. He'll go a little bit on the apron there. He'll use that speed to get side by side with the 77 through the tri-oval across that start finish line. Justice will lead that lap, but it's still airtight into 1 and 2.
Side by side into turns 1 and 2. Berger's gonna try with all his might, but it won't mean anything as Tyler Justice will clear out of turn number 2 to the race lead. And you can just look at the trail of battle scars behind him. The drivers he has made his way through: Berger and Ellison, Montgomery and Cortez, Schumacher, Truett, Bliss, Shearer, and Hensley then the top 10. And it was a run for sure. Ed Shearer has hit the pit lane. Shearer, this is at the top end of the fuel window, so he is making his last stop here. Ed Shearer, this one early, but I imagine this might just be trying to get anything to stick on the dartboard here for the 14.
Absolutely. I don't think these drivers can rely on a caution after those big cautions we had to start off this race. It has been green flag, clean skies all the way through this race. And Looking at Truett in that 35, Cortez right there as well, Schumacher in that 5th spot. And if you look at the intervals on the screen between Truett and Cortez, it's about 4-second difference between 6th and 7th. So in this opportunity, Emerson, I think some of these drivers have to decide, do I gamble or do I just follow the strategy I've been sticking to already?
Oh, and Ed, he's gonna he's gonna jump onto the racing surface there. Obviously not intentionally, but he's gonna pick up a pit exit penalty as a result of that pit exit. And Shear might be coming right back down this pit lane in a couple moments here.
Yeah, not going to be very happy inside the cockpit of that 14. We'll watch right here. He does just that, and boy, he's coming down in a hurry. You can tell he is not happy about that.
That might be game over here. He's just taking this one off the track, and a rough day for him. A clean car at that, but that penalty is gonna hurt. And he'll sit and he'll, I guess, let it simmer. Tyler Justice still the race leader. Venn over Seth Berger, 0.8 of a second VAT lead. The advantage Tyler Justice has on Berger now is only 0.2 of a second, as opposed to the second it was earlier. But it still does have that advantage. Adrian Schumacher, by the way, he has worked his way into 3rd. He pitted on the same lap as Tyler Justice, and if you look at the last lap, Will, barely, but Schumacher is running slightly faster than Tyler Justice.
Yeah, just the slightest bit faster there at the top of the grid. And you see Dustin Montgomery is also rocking very fast laps. Vincent Cortez is very fast on the racetrack as well. And these drivers actually headed down pit road before our race leader, Tyler Justice. And what that really indicates to me is maybe Tyler's holding back a little bit. Now that he has the lead from Berger, he can kind of let go and maybe just cruise around this track until that last set of green flag pit stops come into play. You see Cortez, he's starting to drift up the racetrack just a little bit as well. Very loose coming off of 4, so maybe he's fighting some tire wear.
So these two still going at it here, and Cortez going at it with the car as well. Cortez has had a wild go at it today in that 23 machine. He's been sideways more than he has been forward, but still looking to move forward in that 6th position. Not a bad run in what might be one of the final few races for Cortez. Not able to commit to full-time racing anymore here in SRN. Just gonna pick and choose the races he can run, dependent on his schedule availability. Montgomery here on Ellison, Vis for 4th.
Yeah, and this is what a points leader does in that 12 machine. He's not had the best race, and you see him very loose off of 2 right there. He's been fighting that car just as much as Vincent Cortez has been fighting his 23 machine. But this is what a points leader does. He stays in the fight. He makes lemonade out of lemons. He gets those positions that he has to. Right now, he's on pace to maybe finish inside the top 3. A podium finish for a driver, I'd have to say, Emerson, who's maybe had a top 10 car here tonight. I wouldn't say a podium car, but like I said, he's making lemon out of lemonades.
Making something out of nothing for sure. Cortez trying to get to the inside of Ellison. Not able to stick it yet. Cortez sends it now on the 36. Ellison again on those severely aged tires. And Ellison will start spotting that pit entry soon. He is dropping quick. Back up front. It's 1.6 seconds. The advantage out in front of the field. Schumacher, he's closed a little bit. Not much, but a noticeable amount. He's closed a couple tenths on Tyler Justice. Here is Nathan De La Rosa trying to unlap himself. All right, Sean Powell is a lap down. Oh, Sean Powell sped. And I realized that Sean Powell sped on pit road the last time he pitted. Oh my goodness. I almost feel bad that it took me 30 laps to realize that, but Sean Powell sped on pit road, and that is why we did not see the 1 car have any say in what's going on towards the front of the field. Our pole sitter and our stage 1 winner Now, 2 straight weeks in a row, a very fast car, and our stage winner will not win in the Z Grill Series. It's been Sean Powell both weeks.
Yeah, and that's just a tough break for Pal. And sorry for the folks at home that may have missed that here. And, like I said, just trying to make lemons out of lemonade right there for Pal in that one machine. As you mentioned, at the top of the grid early on in this race, actually ran side by side with our race leader of Justice for a while. And Charlotte's just the track that you can't make any mistakes, Emerson. We talked about it early on in this race. You have to keep your focus. You have to be lasered into this race to make sure you have a shot at the end. And I think right now we're looking at a guy in Tyler Justice that's done everything from the beginning. He stayed clean. He stayed focused. Maybe he drifted back just a little bit, maybe 4 or 5 spots. But other than that, he looks very clean, very fast here with 31 laps to go.
Tyler Justice, again, he's had dominant pace this season. He's led the fourth most laps on the season, but he's had fast cars almost each and every week, but he only won at Daytona. The wins don't reflect the pace that this 6 car has had weekly, mainly because his teammate Dustin Montgomery, he's been eating all of them up. But you think back, Indianapolis, he had a fast car and then got jumped on the he was trying a different pit strategy, tried to 2-stop the rest of the race while Max Service Company did a 1-stop and chased down the 81, passed them, and then on the last corner, in shouts to JR Hildebrand, ran out of fuel, slams the wall, and Service was the one to beat him back to the line. And then last week at Darlington also had a lot of pace along with Sean Powell. And again, Montgomery able to get it done on fuel mileage. Last 2 races, Tyler Justice lost were on fuel mileage. And so tonight, maybe taking a little fuel mileage out of the question, he's able to put that pace together and right now has a great race heading in his direction.
Yeah, absolutely. And as we kicked off this race here tonight, you asked me about those point standings. Coming into tonight, Tyler Justice was in the 2nd spot in those points, about 48 points behind our leader, Dustin Montgomery. If he goes on to win here tonight, he'll do exactly as I was saying. Which drivers can start to put some pressure on Dustin Montgomery there at the top? And with this win, if he wins, I don't want to put the commentator's curse on him just yet. If he does win here tonight, I'd give him 2 wins on this season. Of course, 6 top 5, 6 top 10. So definitely going to narrow that lead from 1st to 2nd, depending on where Dustin Montgomery finishes in this race. But just doing exactly what he has to do, putting that pressure on our points leader here towards the end.
I'm sorry, how many top 5s did Tyler Justice have there? One more time, Will. How many top 5s did Tyler Justice have there?
5 and 5.
Oh, 5? Oh, I was gonna say 6, but still 5 and 5. That's still crazy because we ran 6 races this season. He's finished in the top 5 out of 6 races this season. By the way, the leader is in.
So you see that between him and Dustin Montgomery, they almost have identical stats. But you look at Dustin Montgomery, of course, with those 4 wins on the season, that of course puts him at the top of the points table. But here with Justice, if he can get a win, he'd be the only multi-time winner this season other than our points leader, Dustin Montgomery. Of course, you have Max Service with a win on the season. With Tyler Justice, too, if he goes on to win it. Of course, we have a few laps to go here tonight. But I really feel like, he'll put a lot of pressure on Dustin Montgomery heading into next week.
So Tyler Justice on his final stop of the evening, down and away. Adrian Schumacher comes in the lap afterwards. Logan Truitt is in, and I guess Drew Ballesteros is going to be the one to try to go long here. Dustin Montgomery sets the fastest lap of the day, 30.99. The first driver to get a sub 31-second lap time today. Adrian Schumacher overshoots the box, and that might burn any chance he had on trying to chase down and leapfrog Tyler Justice. Drew Ballesteros, the race leader. Ballesteros trying to go crazy long here and hope for a little something to fall his way. Montgomery again, a fast lap, 30.91. Seth Berger and Gabriel Ellison going at it here. Now the thing is, for Tyler Justice, he's there. He's got 2 lap fresher tires. It will be an advantage, but not as much of an advantage as he had on Ellison and Berger last time. He'll blow by Ellison, but he's only going to have 2 lap fresher tires than Berger. We'll see what the advantage is if it can hold up here.
Yeah, and I'm also, you just kept calling his name out there, the 12 of Montgomery. I'm watching those lap times. You know, ran a 31.3 last time by. Still a lot faster. Tyler Justice with a 31 flat last time. Seth Berger 31.2. So watch out for that 12 to see if he can start to move up the grid. Right now, they're just waiting for Ballesteros to head down pit road with 24 laps to go. We're essentially watching the battle for the lead right now between Berger and Justice. We'll watch our race leader come off with 2 very, very loose. So he is indicating to me that he'll head down pit road here very soon. The 77 of Berger, the 6 of Justice will be the battle for the lead here as we make it 22 laps to go down the triangle.
22 laps to go from Charlotte. And Charlotte Motor Studios provided some great racing this week for Speed Racing Network and is shaping up to provide a little bit more. Tyler Justice trying to chase down and find a way past race leader Seth Berger. The advantage for Tyler Justice not nearly as much as what he had last time he encountered the 77 of Berger, and the 77 has some special stuff on that car he is racing for tonight. He's not going to go toe-to-toe with Tyler Justice as Ballesteros pits. This is the battle for the race lead. Into turn number 1, Berger's going to try to send it around the outside and fight this one hard with the 6 machine.
Yeah, he's got to do everything he can to keep that 6 in his view as the 6 gets by there down the backstretch. Right now, Tyler Justice will take us into 3 and 4 as our race leader. Berger, though, has to make sure he stays on that back bumper, cannot allow the 6 to separate. We saw it happen there before the last round of green flag pit stops, but you see it right there, Emerson. It's really just a 2-car battle as Ellison in that 36 about 3 seconds off the pace, so about 21 laps to go. This is really it for the winner here at Charlotte in the Z Grills Xfinity Series right now. Down the backstretch, Tyler Justice, our race leader, into 3 and 4.
Sean Powell into the pit lane for his final stop from the 11th position. And Seth Berger, yeah, you're right, has to stay really close to Tyler Justice if he's going to try to steal this one away. He's got to be right there, but Justice continues to scoot away from that 77 machine. Tightening up here between Vincent Cortez and Dustin Montgomery as they do battle into turn number 1. Out of 2, nose to tail, it's Cortez.
Yeah, and for Montgomery, you see he's inside the top 5. That would give him another top 5 on the season if these results stay, whether he gets by Cortez or not here. These last 19 laps to go. So our points leader is going to keep that streak going of top 5 finishes. You know, with winning 4 times on the season, Emerson, in 6 races, I'm sure he's used to that victory lane feeling, but I don't think he's going to be too upset with the top 5.
Oh, no. Absolutely not. He is set up very, very well for the playoffs. Even stealing one away, now that I think about it, away from his teammate Tyler Justice and Adrian Schumacher at Road America. Dustin Montgomery, he's been right there, ready to capitalize from mistakes all season long. And who knows if we get a couple magic yellow cloves to fall from the sky and change this race around. Montgomery, he's not out of this one.
But definitely not as he looks to the inside of Cortez here. He's trying to better that finishing position, trying to make it up to 4th as he'll go door to door with Cortez off of corner number 2. There's Z Max Drag racing down the backstretch here into 3 and 4. Montgomery in that 12 has to check up on the apex at 3 and 4. He'll ride that momentum off of the corner, still side by side here across that tri-oval into 1 and 2. These 2 are not giving up that position as still they're side by side into 1 and 2.
In the 1 and 2, Montgomery trying to power by on the inside. He'll clear by The 23 of Vincent Cortez sideways out of turn number 2. Cortez is going to try to contest this one once again into turn number 3. No contest there. Montgomery holds station. This going on 6 2/3 seconds off of race leader Tyler Justice.
Yeah, and one thing that you mentioned here, Tyler Justice is not separating like he did in those earlier runs. Still only about a 0.6 of a second right there. Of course, Montgomery, Ellison, Cortez, they're about 6 to 7 seconds off of our race leader. But boy, this is quite the battle for a top 5 position. Right now, Montgomery holds it down for our podium. You see Cortez, Ellison right there. Oh my goodness gracious, Emerson, we're about to go 3 wide off of 4.
Ballesteros, a lap car, wanted a piece of the action. Remember, Ballesteros pitted last on those fresh tires. The 36 of Ellison, the 23 of Cortez nearly come together there, entering turns 1 and 2, and Ellison gives up the spot. Cortez now under attack from the lapped machine of Drew Ballesteros. This goes on 7.5 seconds back of Tyler Justice.
And if we could check out our hard charger right now. Jonathan Cofield, he's up 16 spots from the drop of the green flag, currently in that 9th position, trying to make it up to 8th. It hasn't been a name we've called out at all here tonight, just quietly putting in some great work. It looks like he will get that 8th spot as he goes door to door with Robinson there in that 46 into 1 and 2. He trims some grass just a little bit there on that front stretch, but boy, he's doing some great work here. Although he might not win the race, he's still gonna get a good finish here tonight.
Jonathan Cofield powers by on the inside. He clears into that 8th position, up 17 spots from where he started. If I do the math, that means he started dead last. So Cofield from dead last to 8th. I'd say that is a pretty good run for Jonathan Cofield, and something I'm sure he'd be happy to hang his hat on if he can conclude that one out tonight there.
Yeah, absolutely. He's currently in that 8th spot. We'll jump up just a little bit. We look at Schumacher, look at Ellison right there. Ellison, we saw start inside the top 3 after those green flag pit stops. Now just trying to hold on to a top 10 spot. You see him slide to 6th as Schumacher goes raging by him there. Right now, Schumacher is now trying to get up to Cortez for that 4th spot. You're starting to see these intervals slide down just a little bit. But on the flip side, Emerson, our lead interval is now about 1.5 seconds. I think right now Tyler Justice is putting that pedal to the floor as he makes it 11 laps to go into 1 and 2. We saw this sort of strategy, Emerson, in this race where he starts to lay back just a little bit on that fresh equipment, and he just hammers down towards the end of the run.
Yeah, Tyler Justice, he's had that kind of unstoppable pace tonight. Just when you think you have a chance and he's dead in the water, he rises once again from the ground, and Tyler Justice just put his stamp on the field. A dominant drive at that for the 6th machine, the Liquid Moly Chevrolet Camaro out of Phase 2 Chassis Works, and Tyler Justice looking to make this win number 6 of 7 for the team. Win number 2 for Tyler Justice, and what a run it would be. He's got 10 laps to go to cement that one, but it has been a stellar run for Justice in the Phase 2 Chassis Works crowd. A couple tank racing drivers going at it for 4th here. Schumacher on Cortez.
Schumacher, Cortez are trying to get up to Montgomery to get that podium spot. They have to get around each other right now. You see Cortez is in the mix. You also see briefly, right, there's the 35 machine of Truett, 36 of Ellison's in there. And it's just a mix of lapped cars that are still on the lead lap here. Emerson with 9 laps to go. And for some of these drivers, they're just trying to get good finishes. Their chances of winning are probably out the window at this point. And you look at those intervals on your screen, it's way out the window for a lot of these guys. But still a top 10, top 5, top 3 is still in the realm with 8 laps to go.
Yeah, 11 cars still in the lead lap. Scotty Reinshield, the 11th of those cars. Ballesteros, by the way, on those fresh tires, he's still 9 seconds back of Scotty Reinshield. So I thought there's a chance for him to get around Reinshield, but there is not. an obvious chance here. The battle for third is starting to pick up here. Dustin Montgomery, the point leader, under attack from the highest driver in points without a win. Adrian Schumacher, who sat third in points, looking to have another great point today.
Yeah, and for Schumacher, again, my hat goes off to him. Just a guy that lingered inside the top 5. You saw him battling for a podium early on in this race. Never really faded too much. Emerson I don't think, faded past the 8th or 7th position on the racetrack, even through those green flag pit stops and everything. Always just sort of lingered here. I think maybe realizing that doesn't have the fastest car here tonight and still get a great finish. And it's just that strategy of knowing what you have, Emerson. He knows what he has in that car, and right now he's trying to put that car on the podium as he looks to the inside of our points leader Montgomery as they go into 1 and 2 with 6 laps to go. What a confidence boost this would be to knock our points leader off the podium. Take that, oh my goodness, as Montgomery went Tokyo drifting off of corner number 2. That's going to allow Schumacher to get a huge run into 3 and 4, but he's still maintaining, Emerson, as we come off of 4.
Montgomery sideways as he'll concede the spot to the zero machine of Adrian Schumacher. Montgomery, though, a great run. He'll right now sit where he started in that 4th position. Schumacher doing the same. Up the road, it's +3 and +1 for Berger and Tyler Justice, +3 and +1 for Cortez and Ellison behind, and then 2 heavy-duty hard chargers, 7th and 8th, Truett and Cofield. Going at it. Well, they're not really going at it, but sat 7th and 8th and trying to bring this one home.
Yeah, and for Tyler Justice out on the lead down the backstretch, in the words of Conor McGregor, boy, do I look good here tonight on the SRN network. He'll take us off of 4. He'll get the Dale Earnhardt lap. 3 laps to go here at Charlotte. Throw up those 3s. Rest in peace to the GOAT as we go into 1 and 2. He can go ahead and book his dinner reservation in downtown Charlotte because with 3 laps to go, he has about a 3-second lead down the backstretch.
So Tyler Justice doing everything right to get to this point, and it's now just clear and smooth sailing, trying to close it out. A battle amongst lapped vehicles. 13th position, Corey Stahl and Bobby Anderson. That will change hands on the other side of the racetrack. We have a battle brewing here, maybe. This is Ellison and Truett, teammates for 6th. Behind Bobby Anderson, another JBR affiliated machine, and it's the 33 Corey Stahl.
And this is very tight, Emerson, with loose cars. Something crazy could happen within this mix. As you see, they're still side by side into corners 3 and 4. We got the white flag in the air.
1 lap to go for Tyler Justice as he puts teammate Sean Powell a 2nd lap down. Powell trying to unlap himself there on the high side. But down the back straightaway, he is already celebrating sideways down the back straightaway. Powell 3 laps down, actually. And coming off of turn number 4 for the 2nd time this season and for the 6th time for Phase 2 Chassis Works, Tyler Justice is going to win here at Charlotte.
In the words of PD Pablo, it's time to take that shirt off, spin it around your head like a helicopter, because right now Tyler Justice is our winner in North Carolina, Charlotte, North Carolina, the marquee racetrack here. And boy, as you mentioned, Emerson, Liquid Molly is on fire this season. Doesn't matter who it is, just seems as though they're always in victory lane.
A little congratulatory bump from Seth Berger. Berger just admitting he was outpaced tonight by the 6 of Tyler Justice, and it's really hard to contest that one. But Tyler Justice will light him up here on the front straightaway, as he is going to be the driver sitting in EPI victory lane. And a well-deserved celebration. And oh, I mean, there she goes. There goes the motor on the sixth machine of Tyler Justice. And he has run that thing to its extreme. Well, go ahead, Van, and bring up driver of the number 6, our race winner. For the second time on the season, Tyler Justice, you get it done. And Tyler, this time you have a dominant car, and this time you get to bring it home to the checkers.
Yeah, man, we had enough fuel this time. Thank you. Yeah, that was a fun race. I normally don't look forward to coming into Charlotte. I haven't particularly run well here, but I felt good with the setup that they had here for this track. So it was a fun race. I like that it went green. We had a couple green flag pit stops, so that was cool. I hate that Sean sped on pit road. I wish he wouldn't have done that because we were going to have a good battle there to the end. But figured it out there about midway through the race, what line I needed to run. I experimented a little bit with the middle because it felt really good in practice, but it just didn't hold on late run with the tires. So had to move back down to the bottom on the second run, saved a little bit, and then started working our way back up to the front and got to Sean when we were coming to the pit stops there, and then he sped, and then I was just trying to hit, conservative but pretty good lap times because I knew I was good on the strategy. Everybody else was kind of short pit and trying to leapfrog us, so just trying to run the best laps we could, and luckily we were able to do that and finally got another win, so happy about that.
That's right, another win for you, Tyler Justice. It's a 6th win on the season. If you had one less corner at Indianapolis, it'd be a perfect 7 for 7 at Phase 2 Chassis Works this season. But still, a great run this season as you continue to bring very fast cars. Sean has qualified on pole now. The past couple of weeks, he's had great pace. You've had your dominant cars this season, and Montgomery, of course, has had his great number of wins. How does this team continue to do this week in and week out, and how do you make sure that you can maintain this same level of excellence throughout the rest of the season, the final 12 races or 13 races?
Just putting in the practice, man. I mean, we always, put in the work to figure out, what the fuel runs are, what line works the best, what saving your tires does, if it helps or if it doesn't help, like figuring out what kind of pace you need to run, because anybody can come in here and run flat out for the beginning of the run and be up front, but your tires aren't going to hold on. So just trying to find what pace is gonna result in the best speed over the whole course of the run, I think is what we do really good at. So yeah, just glad we could get another one here. They were giving me crap because I gave up the Indy win and we would have been perfect 7 for 7 like you said, but luckily we're able to get another one here and not mess this one up. So looking forward to whatever we got next. So ready for it.
We'll be live from the cornfields of Iowa next week. I double checked that. That is where Xfinity is going.
Right.
So how do you feel about your chances at Iowa?
I feel really good about Iowa. I always love that track. Always love going there. And it's a shorter track, so you got to use a little bit of brake, and it's not just gas and lifting, and you got to use a little bit of the brake. So when that comes into play, I feel like we do pretty well. So definitely going to put in the practice this week, but I like that track, and I think the rest of us will do really well there too.
Right on. Well, that is race winner Tyler Justice picking up his 2nd on the season, 6th for the team. Tyler, congratulations on the dominant victory tonight here from the Queen City, and best luck to you next week from the cornfields of Iowa.
Yes, sir. Let me give a shout out to all my teammates, Phase 2 Chassis Works. They did a great job tonight. Great recovery by Dustin. And shout out to Liquid Molly for being on the car as always. And thank you guys for broadcasting.
Absolutely appreciate the compliments as always. That was the driver of the number 6, Tyler Justice. And now, Will, I'm gonna hand off 2nd place finisher Seth Berger to you here, and his very, very fast run here at Charlotte.
Yeah, he was very fast all night long, lingered inside the top 5, never really drifted outside of that. We saw him trading blows with our race winner, Tyler Justice, also Powell up there. Seth, you come home 2nd here tonight. Great run at 77. Take us through that run.
Like some audio issues there from Seth. Seth, you wanna I'll try that again, see if everything's unmuted there. Maybe double check the audio input, Seth. We'll come back to you, Seth, and we'll try that one again. I guess then we'll try with third place finisher Adrian Schumacher.
Yeah, catch up with Adrian Schumacher. Here comes home third. Really scrape that out. Another one of those cars we never saw fade outside of the top 8, I would have to say, in tonight's race. Adrian, you come home third on the podium. You were able to knock off our points leader, Dustin Montgomery, there towards the end. Take us through this race here tonight.
Yeah, it was pretty solid. We yeah, that first one we were all bunched up together. That was pretty fun, but yeah, just tire management kind of struggled with because the setup was tight, and I kind of tried to force it to be loose, and I messed up my tires trying to do that, trying to get myself comfortable with the loose car.
Yeah, let's talk about that. As those runs started to play out, we started to see drivers slide around the racetrack, and you talked about how tight your car was. How big of a factor was that? And did you really start to strategize those pit stops to the best of your ability to where you can maybe push it just a little bit? As mentioned, you never really faded outside of the top 8, so I think you had that timing down pretty perfect.
Yeah, I was mostly just trying to go as long as I can and cut the final stop into halves. So like around like 125. But yeah, just try to have a tire advantage over everyone else, but couldn't match Tyler.
No, definitely not. But you still come home on the podium here tonight, Adrian. And with that great run, the consistency that you showed here in the Queen City, how do you keep that rolling to the cornfields of Iowa next week?
Well, that's another decent track of mine. It's gotta keep the momentum up, and just see where we end up.
Sounds good. As we have you on the podium here, Adrian, speaking with Adrian Schumacher, the driver of the 82 machine, does have the 0 on the side. I think the 0 does look better there, Adrian, than an 82. Anybody you want to shout out or any sponsors you'd like to thank before we let you go?
Yeah, I'd like to thank Saints of Speed, Sonus, Hummingbird, Lakeside Marine, my parents and grandma for watching, and go Bears.
The Bears, as we're speaking with Adrian Schumacher, comes home third here tonight. Adrian, we appreciate you taking the time with us. We can't wait to see you next week. And Emerson, I believe if we can get Seth Berger on the radio here, you'll be
Yeah.
catching up with our second place finisher.
Yeah, we'll try this again with second place finisher, driver of the number 77, Seth Berger. And Seth, you got us here?
Yeah, you got me.
Yeah, we're trying it from the phone tonight, but that's okay. I think the message will still get across. Seth, a great run for you tonight. I know it's not the win you wanted to get, especially sporting such a special and meaningful playing scheme for you tonight. But first, the pace that the 77 had. I know you've gotten it done at Mount Hazen at Charlotte before here in SRN, but you really look like you had some really good pace there, especially in the middle of the runs.
Yeah, it was awesome to have a pace like that. I haven't ran that well this season. I've been solid top 5 running, but that was the first time I've been able to show how good I could really be. But yeah, I definitely want to say hey to my grandma. Shout out to her. I love her so much. She's in town in Chicago, so I'll be seeing her tomorrow. Can't wait to see her. But yeah, Simply Visma, she's going to be starting soon, making her own amulet pouches. So for anyone that's into all the crystals and all that, you'll definitely want to check it out. It's all homemade, handmade. Definitely want to check that out. So Simply Visma, and also had Phil Berger on the car. That was my grandpa. She was telling me some cool stories of how he used to own a stock car. So rest in peace to him. But yeah, the pace was awesome, and the first stage was awesome racing. The 4 of us that close, but then after the second stage, I saw they were saving tires, so sent it on the outside of both of them, and then it went into tire saving mode. But I was saving on entry, but I got a little heavy with the right foot on exit, so I just kept lighting up the right rear. And I don't know their team name off the top of my head, but that entire team is just lights out this whole season. They're so fast. They run the lines perfectly. They don't mess up at all. So being able to race with them today was definitely awesome, just to be up there. If Tyler Justice wasn't in this race, then me and Adrian were the class of the field. But it's fun to be chasing someone. It's definitely a lot more entertaining.
As it was, Seth, a very entertaining race for us. Great battles all throughout the day. You would expect maybe a little different from a race that went almost entirely green flag. But Seth, that'll do it from Charlotte. What about next week in Iowa? The 7/8 mile short track. Does that pique your fancy?
Yes and no. I love racing that track. I think it's a blast, but the track record at Iowa in this series is not good at all for me. So I'll have to do some figuring out there. Hopefully the different setup will help me out a little bit. I just try to run different lines, and sometimes it hurts me, and Iowa is definitely one of the tracks that hurts me. So I'll have fun, but we'll see what we could do there.
Well, there it is. Driver of the number 77, Seth Berger, bringing home into second position tonight. Seth, a great paint scheme for you tonight and a great run in it.
All right, thank you. Also want to shout out to you guys for putting on a great show. Shout out Max Service. He's the only reason why I'm so good at this racetrack. And shout out to Berg Arts, still in the rebooting phase. I've got some drawn up ideas coming out. Also shout out to Tank Racing, all of them. It's like a family over there. It's fun to race there. Also got a shout out Hunter Don, Healthcare Billing, 213 Somewhere, Invader Zim Designs, RJ Bishop Designs, and everyone for keeping it clean. This season's been a lot of fun racing. There's been a lot more respect shown.
Absolutely. And that was our second place finisher then, driver of the number 77, Seth Berger, with the podium. And I knew someone was going to mention Max Service out of there if Tank on the podium. This for Tank, this is Max's track, but he took a little family trip the last couple of weeks, so we didn't see him the past couple of weeks after that Indianapolis win. But it was behind, or I guess ahead of those Tank Racing drivers. It was all this, the 6 of Tyler Justice, and now he brought it home to the checkers tonight. We'll see now our post-race results as we wrap things up here from the Queen City. On your screen, then, Tyler Justice, the race winner. Second place finisher, then Seth Berger. Third will be Adrian Schumacher, the 2 Tank Racing drivers. Second and third, Dustin Montgomery out of Phase 2 Chassis Works in fourth. Vincent Cortez wraps it up there in that 5th position. Logan Truitt then 6th. Gabriel Ellison in 7th. Jonathan Cofield finishes 8th. David Robertson then 9th. And Brandon Burkhart rounds out the top 10 for... Yeah, Brandon Burkhart rounds out the top 10 and the drivers on the lead lap tonight.
Yeah, and then we get to the drivers. We finished a lap down. Scotty Reinshield right there. Drew Ballesteros 11th, 12th. Bobby Anderson 13th. Corey Stahl 14th. Blake Hensley 15th. Jim Harris 16th. Jonathan Byer, he stayed in the fight there. Finishes 17th. Paul Bliss 18th. Scott Khalil 19th. And rounding out our top 20 and our first driver multiple laps down is Sean Powell.
Yeah, Khalil 2 down, Powell 3 down, along with Nathan De La Rosa, and then Heartbreakers Row, Ed Shearer with the pit exit violation, and then I guess he did also get a speed penalty for that pit entry. It'll be 22nd then for Shearer, 45 laps off the pace. Christian Swenson 91 laps off the pace with that big time accident at that corner wall there that is behind the finishing results on your screen, and Nikula and Ryan, 3 big time accidents by the way. For those 3 drivers in Heartbreakers, Swenson, Nikula, and Kyle Ryan. So that is how these 25 drivers brought it home tonight. I want to get your take on how the action was tonight. Will, when you think of long green flag runs at a mile and a half, especially with these B cars, a lot of people will groan at just the description of a race like that. But we had some very, very great battles up and down the running order, and strategy even showed its head a little bit there towards the end. I know those final maybe 15 laps were a little lackluster, but to get to that point was something else.
Oh, absolutely, Emerson. I think you just touched on it there. This race started out, with the caution flags flying. I'm sure everybody at home was thinking, oh my goodness, here we go again, caution flag after caution flag. But after that second caution, things really leveled out. We saw Powell, we saw Justice up there. Once those two got separated, though, that really created more of an atmosphere for more competition. We had other guys starting to battle Justice there at the top, which allowed Justice to really get pushed back the grid down to about the 7th or 8th spot. And you mentioned it, Emerson. Yeah, we had a long green flag run, and I know folks at home to really like to watch, prolonged races like that, where the intervals are high. But the entire time we watched Justice hard charge his way through the field, got up to the lead, past Berger in that 77, and when he did that, Emerson, he was able to separate. And coming into tonight's race, we talked about the runs that Montgomery's had with his 4 wins, but I think we need to start whispering just a little bit about Tyler Justice maybe being one of the top drivers here.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, don't get me wrong, right? Dustin Montgomery has had his dominance this season and has been very, very fast each and every week. He hasn't always been the dominant car in those races. He's just been at the right place at the right time to take advantage of other people's mistakes. And so, I think of Sean Powell. The last 2 weeks, he had pole and very fast car pace and has been able to show it. And Tyler Justice had that pace at Road America and had that chance at Darlington. Of course, should have won Indy and wasn't able to capture those. But Dustin Montgomery was in the right spot at the right time for all of those races. Indy, that was max service. So it just goes to show you that there's a lot of factors that go each and every week, right? And the dominant car doesn't always win. At least with Phase 2 chassis works, they somehow continue to do that week in and week out. But we have yet to have had a short track race on the season. Well, we had Daytona and Mile and a Half, Vegas, Kansas, and Charlotte. We had Verodi at Road America, the big oval, Indianapolis, the wrecked oval, if you will, 2.5 miles, and then Darlington, the egg-shaped 1 and just over a 1/3 mile oval. Next, we got a short track, our first short track on the season before another mile and a half and another short track. 2 more weeks, and then another short. We got 4 short tracks coming up in the span of about 6-7 weeks. These drivers are really gonna have to change their skill set around as you get to the meat of the schedule.
Yeah, Emerson, I agree with you 100%. I think going to Iowa next week, I think some of these drivers are going to be humbled just a little bit. I think from the runs that you just talked about on some of these tracks, you feel good, you feel confident. And when you get to a short track, me and you both know a short track will chew you up and spit you out as fast as you are on tracks like this, Daytona, Kansas, as you mentioned. A short track will make you rethink everything. I cannot wait for next week.
Absolutely, and I guess that will lead us to it right next week, as that'll do it then from the Queen City. We do have to give a shout out to all of our partners here at Speed Racing Network. Of course, Fiverr, Glitch, and Z-Grills for all that they do here to sponsor our 3 main series. Admin Box, of course, has been on your screen all day long, presenting our starting grid sponsor. Make sure you use code SRN-BOX, that is BOXX, for 10% off of your Admin Box purchases. But Kicker, we really didn't hear from them today. We'll get one message from them on the way out tonight. Of course, EPI, our Victory Lane sponsor. Select Blinds was our Incident Replay sponsor, and we used them for a couple big ones tonight. So a great shout out then to everyone who supports Speed Racing Network and all of our efforts here. Quick shout out once again, if you scroll down and you see that subscribe button, it's big, and if it's red, go and click it, make it gray. Add us to your subscriptions here on YouTube. You've made it to this part of the broadcast. You are, of course, enjoying the action that Speed Racing Network can provide. And right next to it, there's that join button. If you hit that, you'll be prompted to pay $4.99 a month. But don't worry, with that, we give you loyalty badges and custom emojis, exclusive wallpapers and photos, early access to new content, member shoutouts, members only live chats, and priority reply to comments. Make sure you check out what the Speed Racing Network Premium membership has to offer. And a shout out to our social media outlets tonight. Of course, our Facebook page at facebook.com/Speed Racing Network, our X page at x.com/Speed Racing Net, Instagram at instagram.com/Speed Racing Network, YouTube at youtube.com/Speed Racing Network, Twitch at twitch.tv/Speed Racing Net, our LinkedIn at linkedin.com/company/Speed Racing Network, and of course the website where you can keep up with all things news, stats, points and schedules, anything else you need to find out about any of the series you keep up with here at Speed Racing Network. You check out the big website, speedracingnetwork.com, that has all that information for you. Well, that'll do it then from Charlotte. Thank you all for tuning in and joining us for tonight's action, and we hope you enjoyed tonight's broadcast. For all at Speed Racing Network, Will Tiller, alongside myself, Emerson Arden, on the call this evening. Thank you all so much for watching, and we'll see you next week when Speed Racing Network takes to the cornfields of Iowa.